Like
you got to have a partner that's in agreement with that. That's not a sweet enough deal.
I'm saying,
like Justin and BJ, that's not a sweet enough deal for anyone.
No, but what I'm saying is that was before I rationalized everything that was going on. Before I looked at the money, before I looked at all of that. I thought I was in the, I wasn't going as hard, but I did have, like some thoughts as a Braves fan, like, well, damn, like, is there anybody safe? And
no, and there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
But when you look and you realize that you only have 6 dudes from last year's roster, I mean, the Braves were not terrible. You know what I'm saying? They weren't terrible. I mean, that's what you do. That's like what you do when you're absolutely terrible.
Negative. That's what you do when the plan doesn't work. When you got a plan, the plan doesn't work.
Yeah,
you start over. You scrap it. You talking about what? 73 wins? 73 wins is what you got out of that.
What now?
73 wins is what you got out of that, right?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't. Yeah. You can't continue to move down that path. That's why your man. That's why Frank Wren's not here anymore. You tried to go down that path 2 years ago. It worked out for you a little bit, but this year you turned around. Last year you turned around and the same thing happened, but you got no results win-wise out of it. So to keep Craig Kimbrell again. Not again, because no one else has heard me say this. Sorry, Dominique, for taking your catchphrase. Craig, a closer, he's the equivalent of a running back. Okay? Like, especially on a team like this, like, what are you going to do with Craig Kimbrell? Okay, he makes 2 appearances this week on a team that's not very good. You may not see him in any meaningful action for the next 2 weeks because the team is not scoring runs. The team is not putting themselves in a position where a save opportunity is warranted. So then what do you just got to do sitting there? He's not like a power hitting third baseman. You know what I mean? Somebody that's going to contribute every day. He's a closer. He's a closer that at the end of the day you know his name.
But dudes like that don't. I mean, it ain't even just about the name. You know what he does. You know when that dude comes out. You know what he's going. You know 9 times out of 10 what he's going to do.
You know what else he doesn't do. See, this is the part that people kind of just dismiss. The fact that the last person, you know who the last person who led the league in saves 4 years in a row was?
The last person to lead the league in saves 4 years in a row?
Right. Don't worry about it. He doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. That's the problem you have with keeping a closer past his time. Because if you're going to keep him throughout the rebuilding process, you know what's going to end up happening? He's going to end up being that hot potato I talk about. And no one wants to end up being the one holding the hot potato. If you're San Diego, it's cool. Because guess what? You've already gone all in. You've done the Matt Kemp thing. You've done the Justin Upton thing. Now you've got the Craig Kimbrell thing going on out there. You've already pushed all your chips to the middle of the table. So if this year and next year are the best you're going to get out of Craig Kimbrell before he blows his elbow out or something, fine. You're cool because you've already put yourself in that position. If you're the Braves, you're not going nowhere. You're not doing anything. Like, why? And that's the other question I have. As far as fandom goes, the people who are afraid to rebuild, to really rebuild, because there's very few times that you ever see that whole concept of a rolling rebuild work. No, if you're going to do it, strip it down, man. Go for it. Like, Rob, me and you, we're from this city. We've seen those 96 losses, those 101 losses.
100 losses.
We've seen those. But then, but what was happening there? And I had to read the article if I can find it here real quick. The name of it for everyone who's listening to this. It's like it says the Braves must get worse before they get better or go down. Okay, here it is. Braves must go backward before they go forward. It's just kind of ironically, I read the article yesterday in the AJC before, like a couple hours before the Craig Kimbrell thing happened, and they talk about those times, developing those guys in those Chipper Joneses, those David Justices in the minor leagues, those young guys, so that when it was time, you had a core of dudes that you can take a ride with for the entire decade of the 90s. Now, no one's saying that's going to happen again, but we've seen it work here. So that's why I laughed yesterday when I saw all the in my opinion, overreaction. I was like, you've seen it work. What's happening?
Well, you know what? No, but I'm gonna tell you though, man. Like back then, even before the likes of Chipper Jones and Tony Carrasco and Ryan Klesko, and I'm missing one of them. Before those guys, came to the major leagues, like everybody that was a Braves fan already knew about them because it was like the Braves made sure that they were on everybody's mind. Like, this is the future of the team. Like, these guys, like, this is it.
Right. But this is the beginning of that. This is the precursor to that. Like, the Braves now have to rebuild their farm system so that you do know who those guys are before that time comes. Like, you didn't just know who those dudes were. They got put into the farm system first. So now what the Braves have to do is they have to rebuild that farm system that got kind of broken. Like, during the broadcast today, they was talking about the Braves farm system has now, by whatever publication ranks these things, is like now number 5. They've gone up to number 5. And like I said, I heard John Hart talk the other day about in every deal that they made, they've gotten pitching back. So that seems to be the focus. I'm the guy that says this. If you're going to do what you're doing, explain to me the plan. Just explain to me. You're the guy that's getting paid. You tell me what to do. You tell me what you're doing, and I'll ride with it until it works or doesn't work. But at least you have a plan here in Atlanta. Like, this is to me, this is not something to jump off the bridge about.
Well, I mean, I'm not jumping off the bridge. What surprised me was that it was the day before opening day, and you sending your guy, like the guy in the bullpen, you shipping him off. I mean, I wasn't even mad about us. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't mad about that.
No one was. No one.
Like I never in all the tweets that I tweeted last night, never one time did Upton's name ever come up in those tweets because I knew that was a bad deal when Frank Green gave it to him a couple years ago. I knew that was a bad deal. But again, I listened to Freddie Freeman talk during the pregame of the Braves Marlins game, and when I listened to what he was saying. He talked about the big bats and how, kind of sort of what you just said a few minutes ago.
I've actually got Freddie here. I've actually got Freddie here talking about it. Here it is.
Well, let's hear it.
In my opinion, we're kind of built like the Royals a little bit more this year. We don't have a lot of guys that will hit the ball at the ballpark. We have a lot of guys that make contact and don't strike out as much. A lot of speed guys that put pressure on the bases. And I think that's, obviously we had this lineup in 2013 that did really well, and we had pretty much the same one last year, and it didn't work out. So we're doing a different lineup this year. So hopefully we were able to put pressure on the defense a little bit more and produce some more runs this year.
Yeah, boy, Braves in first place. Just one.
Yeah, one
first
win.
place.
Yeah, just close it out. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to me after Labor Day or whatever, Memorial Day, whatever one comes latest.
Yeah. Labor Day.
That
But that's what Freddie said after hearing Freddie talk, kind of just, break it on down and like this is what we're doing. Like we're erasing the big bat for people that know how to put the ball in play. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, being the student of the game that I am, like, I'm like, okay, I can sit back and see if this is what's going to happen. And,
wait, I talked about that last week, though. I said the same thing last week.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, come on, man. I had to hear the pros say it. Don't play it.
Where you think I got it from? I got it from the dude that employs him.
No, I'm saying, no, we talked about it, and I agree with you. And so that's what I'm saying today, because that's, I said I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch, right? And then the first inning, the Braves first sit back, like they got 5 hits to start the thing. They put the ball in play pretty much through, straight through the lineup. And, and I can dig it. If this is how Braves baseball, this is how they want to do it. I mean, I'm with it. If they want to get rid of the big bats and just play, that ABC type ball, like, I'm with it.
Well, that's for now, because the other thing that's happened is now they have financial flexibility now. So when there are free agents out there that are viable and that fit within the confines of what the organization is trying to do, they have financial flexibility. They had to do whatever. Dan Uggla, they had to go ahead and eat that. That was in the making for at least 2 years. And, Frank Wren didn't want to pull the trigger on just eating the money on the Dan Uggla situation. But inevitably, Dan Uggla is, from last I heard, he's trying to make the team with the Nationals. I don't know if he made it or not, but that's where he's at. He's with the Nationals now.
Well, you got a ring with the Giants last year. They gave him a ring.
Uggla?
Even though
good for him.
Though they had kicked him down. Even though they had kicked him down to the minor league team because, he didn't make the roster.
Well, good for him.
They ended up kicking him down.
Things happen.
Because he played in the regular season or whatnot, and he was like the oldest veteran on the AAA squad or whatnot. They ended up giving him a ring, but it's gonna be interesting. We got a long way to go in this baseball. So I mean, like I say, there might be another diamond in the rough, just like Craig Campbell.
But you just got to understand what we're talking about. You don't need that. Like, the thing is, man, the league has shown you that you don't need that. You don't, like, this Mark Bradley thing about the Braves traded away their Mariano Rivera. Do you know who the hell Mariano Rivera is? And secondly, why he's so great? Like, if Mariano Rivera was the same dude on, I don't know, the Orioles all these years, or the Tampa Bay Rays, yeah, no one would care. But the fact that he was a linchpin in a bunch of championship runs for the Yankees, that's what made Mariano Rivera Rivera. He was a great closer, but the fact that he played for teams that were always in contention. If you got a closer on a bad team, you're ignorant. You're stupid. There's no need to have him.
I mean, no. I mean, you know, he is their John Smoltz, if you will. That's who he is. Like, their John Smoltz. Like, or I mean, you can use any of the guys that were in Atlanta for that, you know, stretch. But that's who he was to them. And he played for a long time.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
He came in the game.
Like, I'm not putting Craig Kimbrell in none of that air. Like, we talking about a couple of years, cool, whatever. Yeah. But these Tommy John surgeries are coming right and left. So before, and again, that's what you got. You've got to look at that kind of stuff. Like, if this dude blows out his elbow and loses his value, and we're stuck with him, why are we stuck with him? It's a different story if you feel like you're going to contend this year. And you have this closer that can take you through, you know, can save you 2 or 3 games, close games in the playoffs. But inevitably, you don't need that. You don't even need him. So if somebody else is going to give you some prospects, they got 2 20-something-year-old prospects, 1 older cat, obviously, and then they got a draft pick next year, another draft pick for the Braves next year, and the 41st overall. This is, like, to me, this is the epitome of what it is to build. And here's the other thing too, and I always try to make sure I try to get, like, gauge the temperature on other issues. Like, if I see people freaking out about certain issues nationally, I want to try to find maybe if I know somebody locally. Like with this, what Chris Bryant thing was happening, and right. I got on this podcast. And I didn't understand what the deal was. It just seemed like it's perfect sense to me. So I hollered at my guy Golf. I was like, Golf, please tell me those people up there ain't freaking out the way everybody else is. He was like, nope, everyone understands. No. I was like, exactly. Yeah. And that, to me, is the bigger point to this whole Craig Kimbrell thing. Because, like I say, if you're in Queen Creek, or if you're one of those people who listen to us in LA or whatever, you don't care about this. But what you should have a link to is fandom, and how it's imperative that you be just be a smarter fan. That you understand, that you have a better understanding than you did in the 80s about about transactions that happen. Like, you get emotionally attached to players, and then when something happens to positively affect the business, people act like they just don't understand. Like it's something foreign. And I will ask anybody who's a Braves fan the question: what the hell were you gonna do with Craig Kimbrell this year? Like, what was he gonna do on this team? If he saves, like today, is it 2-1, 3-1? I can't see that; it's so small.
He would have been in. Yeah, he would have been in.
Right. Okay. Then tomorrow, what happens? Tomorrow, if the same team that's better than the Braves, let's just keep it real, this Marlins team is better than the Braves, come out and put up, 5-1. You don't see them tomorrow. Then you got the last game of the series. Then you got the day off. Then you got a beginning of a next series, which I don't know who the team is.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
There's just a possibility of these long gaps where you don't even use the dude.
But see, I think, okay, like the whole Chris Bryant thing, like, again, that's one of those plans. Like, if like Theo Epstein telling the fan base, okay, like, we're holding him for 12 games. He's still going to get to play the majority of the season, but he'll get to be in a Chicago uniform through 2026.
Right.
Just by virtue of 12 games. Like, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Who can't understand that?
Yeah, you can't be mad about that. Okay, I'll say this. That was the Players Union and the national media. They kind of, blew that up.
And Scott Boras. Scott Boras is his agent, too.
Yeah, the agent. Yeah, blew that up. So, that's a no-brainer. If the Braves don't